सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्या देश तारिणे वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघायते गिरिं, यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्री गुरुदिनतारिणं, यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरम्। कथांचन स्मृते यस्मिन् दुष्करं सुकरं भवेत्, विस्मृते विपरीतं स्यात् श्री चैतन्यं नमामि तम्। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Okay, you could share screen and we can start. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. Prabhuji, would anybody like to read? I'm not feeling good at all.
Hare Krishna. Who would like to read today?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, give me just 2 minutes, I'm coming.
Anita Matri, what's happening?
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I'm doing. ततो वेद पुराणादि व्याख्या भीरवाद कोविदान विप्रन प्रणम्य यतिनो गृबिणो ब्रह्मचारिणः. He then offered homage to the Brahmanas present, who were expert in arguing from the Vedas, Puranas, and other texts. He also offered respects to the sannyasis, householder, and the brahmacharis. Vaishnavanscha sada Krishna kirtananandan lampatan subabun madhurera vakir vyavaharischa harshayan. And he honored the Vaishnavas who were always greedy to enjoy the bliss of glorifying Krishna. Thus he encouraged the many respectable persons there with attractive words and the behavior. Padasaucha jalam tesham dharayam shirasi swayam bhagavate arpitaistadvad annadibhir apuchayat. After placing on his head the water that had washed their feet, he worshipped those persons with the food and other items he had presented to the Supreme Lord. Commentary. On one class of learned Brahmanas like to display their knowledge by defeating others in argument. But another class of Brahmanas, the pure Vaishnavas, prefer to use their energy to hear and chant about Krishna. Some Vaishnavas are also Brahmanas by birth and external behavior, but pure Vaishnavas of any social status, even those who come from lower caste, are always better situated spiritually, are better situated spiritually than ordinary Brahmanas. Pure Vaishnavas bother to enter debates only when the cause of Krishna consciousness can be advanced. When criticisms of other Vaishnavas or the Supreme Lord have to be answered, or when victims of misconceptions have to be saved. The Brahman Vaishnava conducting this festival honored the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas with pleasant, encouraging words and with respectful behavior, bowing down to them, washing their feet, offering them arati, and so on. भोजयित्वा ततो दीनान् अन्त्यजानपि सादरम् अतोषयद् यथा न्यायम् स्वश्रीगालखगक्रिमिन्. Next, he respectfully fed everyone else, including the most fallen outcast. In suitable ways, he satisfied even the dogs, jackals, birds, and insects. Shudras and outcasts are commonly considered fallen, and men who are poor and hungry are usually identified as wretched. But the real criterion of a person's fallen, wretched condition is his lack of devotion to the Supreme Lord. Amanina manadena kirtanye sadahari. Shikshaska 3. One who wants to worship Lord Hari perpetually by Nam Sankirtan must give up demanding respect for himself and must practice showing respect to every living creature. But the respect one shows must be appropriate for each individual. Only a fool would embrace a hungry tiger in the name of brotherly love. And so a devotee endeavoring for pure Krishna consciousness should keep a respectful distance from persons of dubious character and faith.
Hare Krishna.
Haji.
Okay, so you can just stop there for a minute. So here, Sanatan Goswami brings out this point that the real criterion of a person's fallen wretched condition is his lack of devotion to the Supreme Lord. So this is the benchmark with which we look at the world. This is the benchmark we are supposed to look at the world. We are not supposed to look at the world with the idea of its so-called prosperity or its so-called respectable positions within this material world. Everyone is wretched or fallen if they do not practice a devotional service to the Supreme Lord. And another thing which Sanatan Goswami brings up is that only a fool would embrace a hungry tiger in the name of brotherly love. So the idea is that to associate with persons of this material world is as dangerous as embracing a hungry tiger. So this is the significance of this particular comment by Sanatan Goswami. So it is also explained how association with non-devotees is like a bird in a cage lowered into a flaming bonfire. So that's another example which is given. So here it is clearly explained that one should not think that it doesn't matter if you associate with people in this material world. It matters. It matters. It dangerously matters. Not that it just matters, it dangerously matters. Because, as I've said in my previous talks, that uh, everything starts with hearing. So when you hear something, then you start thinking about it. When you start thinking about it, then you develop feelings for it. When you develop feelings for it, then you want to act it out. So people of this material world have various conceptions of material enjoyment. So when you hear from them, associate with them means to hear from them. So then you develop your thinking like that. Then you develop feelings for material enjoyment, and then you act on that. So the root cause of all that is association, which leads to hearing from them. So we are very strict about association with non-devotees. We are not interested in the so-called social life. No, it is as dangerous as going and embracing a hungry tiger. As devotees in the Krishna consciousness movement, Srila Prabhupada has created the Krishna consciousness movement so that we associate only with devotees. Sometimes we can hear devotees say that, okay, the non-devotees are better than the devotees. Look at this thing. But these are all temporary, uh, temporary, what do you call it? Insights based on some certain circumstances. So one may think, okay, this devotee did not behave properly, or this devotee is harsh, or this or that, or this devotee is just not bothered about my real well-being. So therefore, we think that non-devotees may be better. But the point is, it is not when the scripture speaks about devotees being our well-wishing friends. It is speaking about those devotees who are practicing ideally. So if you are not in the association of people who are not practicing ideally, you may feel that the non-devotees are better. But that is not, that is just another feature of the material mind. We're just looking for something which will make us comfortable. Yes, we are uncomfortable in the association of devotees who are not practicing properly. That is a fact, that if they are not practicing, but we should also have the understanding that I should depend on Krishna for providing me with favorable association. So the solution to bad devotee association is not so-called good devotee association. No, the solution is proper devotee association. So we should never miss that point. That and sometimes we have to tolerate also. Like Prabhupada says, how does it matter to you whether when you're sitting in a boat to cross an ocean, or I mean, or in a ship to cross an ocean, how does it matter to you whether the person is sitting next to you is third class, fourth class, fifth class, whatever class they may be? Your business is to sit tightly in the ship and cross the ocean. So we may have various circumstances which come up, due to which we may think that association with the non-devotees, after all, not so bad, because look at them, they are better than the devotees that I know of. But all these are very dangerous. These thought patterns of thought are very dangerous. We should be convinced of the fact that there are genuine devotees, and we should pray to Krishna. If we are in the association of devotees who are not very advanced and who are not practicing properly, then the solution is to find the association of those who can encourage us, can inspire us. Of course, we can't just do it by artificial methods, but today the world is well connected. We are a global village. That's how I'm sitting in Mayapur and giving a talk to all of you over Zoom. So, like that, there are many ways of associating with devotees. Uh, you can always try to find out who is a genuine devotee, and then try to associate with them and try to advance. So that is the point. At any point, we cannot think that it is okay for us to associate with the non-devotees, because the devotees whom we have met do not stand up to the standards of Krishna consciousness that we read. That's all. I mean, that's my comment for this. Any thoughts, reflections, questions? Okay, please go ahead, Raj.
एवं एवं सन just a second. एवं संतर्पिताशेषः समादिष्टो अथ साधुभिः परिवार परिवारे वारेः समं शेषं सवर्षं बुभुजे अमृतम्. When he had thus satisfied everyone, the holy man invited him to take the remnants of the sacrifice. With his family and followers, that leaders of Brahmanas then enjoyed the nectarian prasad with great delight. Commentary. Only after every living being in the vicinity was fed and pleased did the host, with his family and servants, honor Lord Madhav's Prasad. This food was now Amrit, the elixir of the immortality, a sheer delight to taste, because it had been offered to Lord Krishna in devotional service. Tato abhimukham agatya Krishna.
Devotional sacrifice, not service.
Sorry.
No, I mean, it means something similar, but anyway.
ततो अभिमुखम् आगत्य कृष्णस्य रचिताञ्जलिः तस्मिन् एवार्पयाम् आस सर्वं तत्फलसञ्चयम्. After this, he again went before the shaligram deity of Lord Krishna, and with folded hands he offered to the Lord all the pious credit he had earned by the sacrifice. In sacrificial offerings, the mantras chanted declared that the oblations, after being offered, belong to the deities being worshipped. Idam Indraya na mama. This is for Indra. It is no longer mine. But most performers of Vedic rituals, even while verbally declaring surrender, maintain the subtle ambition to possess not only the oblations themselves, but the fruits, the outcome of the sacrifice. Pure devotional service begins when one make offerings only for the pleasure of the Supreme with no hidden motive. Sukham samveshya devam tam swagriham gantum udyatam durach Shri Narado Drishtvo Athito Muni Samajataha. The leader of the Brahmanas put the deity comfortably to rest and got ready to return home. Sri Narad, however, had been watching him at a distance from within assembly of sages. Just then Narad stood up. Ayam eva Mahavishnu preyaniti muhurbuvan धावन गत्वान्तिकेतस्य विप्रेन्द्रस्येदम् अब्रवीत् श्रीकृष्ण परमोत्कृष्ट कृपाया भाजनं जनं लोके विख्यापयन् व्यक्तं भगवद्भक्तिलम्पटः. Again and again, Narad announced, "This is the Supreme Lord Vishnu's most dear devotee." Then he ran up to the Brahman and declared him the recipient of Lord Krishna's highest mercy. Narad proclaimed this openly to all, beside himself with eagerness for devotional service to Lord Krishna. Narad had been enjoying the festival incognito, but the ecstasies he was tasting in pure love impelled him to announce his relations. All the Lord's devotees are dear to the Lord, as implied here by the word Janam, which can mean either people in general or some specific person. Narad knows whom the Lord most favors, and thus the word Janam also expresses a more confidential idea in Narad's mind. He is ultimately referring to the dearest servant of Lord Krishna, Srimati Radharani. The Brahman and other devotees, Narad, will praise the Brahmanas and the other devotees, Narad will praise, are also aware of their own leisure devotional standing. Narad here speaks mainly to enlighten the public, but also to gain impetus for his expedition to the far ends of the universe in search of Sri Krishna's best devotees. Srinarad Uvacha Bhavan Viprendra Krishnasya Mahanugrabha Bhajanam Yashendrisham Dhanam Dravyam Audaryam Vaibhavam Tatha. Sri Narad said, O leader of the Brahmanas, it is you who have received Lord Krishna's greatest favor. After all, you have such wealth, property, generosity, and personal opulence. Sad, sad dharma padakam tacha sarvam eva mahamate. दृष्टं हि साक्षात् अस्माभिः अस्मिन् तीर्थ वरे अधुना. O wise one, in the best of in this best of the holy places, we have now seen for ourselves that you are using all these assets exclusively to establish pure religion. The Brahmana's personal opulence is the paraphernalia showing his status, his vehicles, special items of clothing, and so on, and his entourage of family members, associates, and subordinates. His pure religion is devotional service to the personality of Godhead. The Brahmana did not abuse any of his apparently material assets by employing them for the material purposes. These assets had come to him as byproducts of his devotional service, without his striving for them. He could hardly keep them hidden, as Narad here remarks, but still he was happy to put them to transcendental use. So, Prabhuji, the whole conversation, is it the whole conversation is going for that an unknown person who came to that assembly, and Narad ji is been glorifying that Brahman?
Means
Where
what?
we left. In the last class, we have read that there was some special person came into the assembly, and where Narad ji was also there. And I asked you who is that, then you said, okay,
Yeah. That's the question. Yes.
so the whole conversation is going for that unknown person who was there.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wise one, in this best, Mataji. I think we have to read the above verse.
Mataji?
No, this we have read.
Huh.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
I didn't read the shloka. Vidvadvarena tenokto annanva idam sa mahamuni swamin kim mai krishnasya kripalakshanam ikshitam. That most learned Brahman then replied to the best of the sages, O Master, what signs of Krishna's mercy have you seen in me? Adam aham varak aham varakah ko nu syam datum shaknomi kmakiyat vaibhavam vartate kim me bhagavat bhajanam kutah. Who am I but a most wretched person? How much charity am I able to give? What opulence do I have? And how have I ever reciprocated with the Lord in devotional service? Any true devotee of Krishna considers himself insignificant, thinking himself one of the countless jivas who are mere sparks of God's splendor. The devotee is sorry for having foolishly rebelled against his creator. And reflecting on his rebellion, he thinks that his relative influence among other fallen jivas means little. What does it mean for the devotee is sorry for having foolishly rebelled against his creator?
That's how we are here in the material world, right? if we are not sorry for having rebelled against God, against Krishna, then how
Okay.
are we devotees?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So we are sorry that we have rebelled against Krishna. And reflecting on
Oh.
this rebellion, he thinks that his relative influence among other fallen jivas means little. We are trying to become the Lord and Master of all that be. So
Mm.
we have relative influence among other fallen jivas. Everybody has some relative influence. Man, woman,
Mm.
in their circumstances, as husband, as wife. There are many positions of relative influence among other fallen jivas, but it all means little, even if you are the emperor of the whole world.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. Thank you. किंतु दक्षिणा देशे यो महाराजो विराजते स हि कृष्ण कृपा पात्रं यस्य देशे सुरालयाः. But in the southern country there lives a great ruler whose kingdom has many temples of God and the demigods. He is the true recipient of Lord Krishna's mercy. Okay. Sarvato sarvato bhikshavo yatra तै तैरथिकाभ्यागतादयः कृष्णार्पितान्नं भुञ्जाना भ्रमन्ति सुखिनः सदा. Saintly mendicants come to his kingdom from all directions, along with pilgrims and other visitors. They wander happily, sustained by food that they wander happily sustained by food that has been offered to Krishna. The Brahmana describes the great king as a Maharaj, a ruler of several other kings in this area. He was not the emperor of the entire continent. The Chakravarti, that higher position was occupied at the time of Pandav Yudhishthira. Later in this chapter, the southern king will also be called Sarvabhaum because his kingdom occupied a large area. Many accomplished saints migrated to his kingdom, attracted by its spiritual features. Other people also came, including ordinary visitors, renounced pilgrims traveling to purify themselves, and distressed persons in search of food and shelter. All of them took advantage of the sacred, delicious Krishna Prasad freely available throughout the kingdom. राजधानी समीपे च सच्चिदानंद विग्रह साक्षात् इवासते भगवान कारुण्यात् स्थिरतां गतः. Near the king's palace, the personality of Godhead resides as if directly in his original form of eternal existence, knowledge, and bliss. He has kindly assumed a non moving appearance. The Lord's incarnation as the deity in a temple is stationary, at least to ordinary eyes. He is the same absolute person who lives in the spiritual world, yet he assumes a special form to make himself visible to everyone. The Lord's pastime incarnations, who move about displaying adventures with their devotees, are rarely seen in this cosmic manifestation. But the Vishnu deity in this king's capital was so potent and attractive that the citizens almost forgot he was a non-moving deity. Wow. नित्यं नवनवस्तत्र जायते परमोत्सवः पूजा द्रव्याणि चेष्टानि नूतनानि प्रतिकृष्णं क्षणम्. In that kingdom, a joyous, ever fresh festival is always being celebrated. At each moment, there are new offerings and performances of worship. The worship in the main temple of the capital never became stale and ritualistic. New items of worship were constantly introduced, and more important, the devotees' interest in pleasing the Lord was also ever fresh. Thus, the displays of worship pleased both the deity and the public. Vishnu Nivedites Taistu सर्वे तद्देशवासिनः वैदेशिकाश्च बहवो भोजयन्ते तेन सादरम्. The king respectfully feeds all the residents of his country and the many foreign visitors with the remnants of the Lord Vishnu's worship. To accommodate all the residents and travelers, the king maintained many Vishnu temples throughout the country. But the main temple in the capital was specially famous for its worship and prasad. Pundarikaksha देवस्य तस्य दर्शन लोभतः महाप्रसाद रूपानाद्य उपभोग सुखाप्तितः साधु संगति लाभाच्च नाना देशात् समागताः निवसन्ति सदा तत्र संतो विष्णु परायणाः. Saintly devotees of Lord Vishnu come from various countries to reside permanently in the kingdom. They come out of eagerness to see the lotus-eyed deity of the Lord, to relish the food and other special remnants from the Lord, and to obtain the association of spiritually advanced persons. Besides pure devotees of Vishnu, other spiritualists also came. Those dressed as holy men but spiritually not fully qualified were also treated with respect. Even cats and dogs should receive Lord Krishna's prasad. But for spiritual guidance, one should approach only bona fide followers of the Vaishnava Parampara. देशश्च देव विप्रेभ्यो राज्ञा दत्तो विभज्य सह नोपद्रवोऽस्ति तद्देशे कोऽपि शोको अथवा भयम्. The king has given his kingdom away to the demigods and the brahmanas, dividing it among them. His kingdom is completely free from sorrow, social disruption, and fear. The king granted to the presiding deities of local temples and to the brahmanas of each region official title to the various parts of the country. He considered himself merely the caretakers of the kingdom under authority from its legal owners. Wow. आकृष्टपचया सा भूमि वृष्टिस्तत्र यथा सुखम् इष्टानि फलमूलानि सुलभान्य अम्बराणि च. In that kingdom, the earth yields crops without being tilled. Rains falls just enough for people's comfort, and whatever fruits, vegetables, and clothing one desires are easily to be had. In the Bible, Genesis 3:19, we read that the
This
God.
is Gopi Parandan Prabhu's commentary.
Acha. In the Bible, Genesis 3:19, we read that God punished Adam for rebellion by cursing him. Then outside the Garden of Eden, he would have to till the earth to earn his food by the sweat of his face. Previously, the Bible tells us Adam and Eve had enjoyed the fruits of Eden without having to farm. The same ideal condition prevailed thousands of years ago in the South Indian kingdom. Rain fell just enough to make good crops, but mostly at night, when it would least disturb the citizens. Hari Hari. Swaswa dharma krita sarvaha sukhinyah Krishna tatparaha. Just a minute. I'm sorry, Prabhuji, and I received a call from the local secretary. They are coming. स्वस्वधर्मकृत सर्वाः सुखिन्यः कृष्ण तत्र तत्पराः प्रजास्तम् अनुवर्तन्ते महाराजं यथा सुताः. The citizens all happily follow the king as if they are his children. They perform their own social duties and are devoted to Lord Krishna. Like children who love and respect their parents, the citizens not only obeyed the king's directions but also wanted to follow the example of his good character. चाग्रवः सदा नीच योग्य सेवाभिरच्युतं भजमानो अखिलान् लोकान् रमयत्यच्युत प्रियः. The king is always prideless, worshipping Lord Achyuta with services. Worshipping Lord Achyuta with services a menial assistant would perform. He pleases all the people and is dear to the Lord. So vast and rich a domain and such a reputation for religious accomplishments would make an ordinary king proud. But this Maharaj was a pure Vaishnav. He was happy to serve the Supreme Lord in the humblest ways, washing and decorating the floors of his temples, keeping the temple lamps filled with oil, and so on. As the term Achyuta Priya indicates, he did this not to make a show of humility, but purely out of devotional enthusiasm. तस्याग्रे विविधैर्नाम गाथा संकीर्तनेह स्वयं नृत्ययन् दिव्यानि गीतानि गायन् वादयन् भ्रातृभार्या सुते पौत्रे भृत्या पुरोहितेः अन्यैश्च स्वजनैः साकं प्रभुं तं तोषयेत् सदा. He always tries to satisfy the Lord. He himself performs Sankirtan before the Lord's deity, chanting the Lord's names composed in various attractive arrangements. He dances, sings wonderful songs, and plays instruments. His sons, wives, brothers, grandsons, priests, servants, ministers, and other subordinates, he has them also take part. Hari Hari. We have never heard of this type of kingdom. The king did not have to force his relatives and assistants to take part in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord because they were all first class Vaishnavas. ते तस्य गुणवृत्ताः कृष्ण भक्त्या अनुवर्तिनः संख्यातुं कति कथयन्ते ज्ञायन्ते कति वा मया. These good qualities arise from his devotion for Krishna. How many of them can I count, describe, or even be aware of? The Brahmana's logic is as follows. The king's good qualities I have mentioned are all signs of his being the true recipient of Lord Krishna's mercy. I do not have the same mercy because I do not have the same good qualities. Each of the devotees approached by Narad will argue in a similar way. In fact, however, all these devotees were very fortunate, even if they stand on different levels of perfection. The differences recognized by Narad and those with whom he speaks are spiritual differences, not determined by material rank or position. The devotee Brahman would not have called the king from the south a better Vaishnava than himself had the Brahmana held the prejudice that Brahmanas are always better than Kshatriyas. Shri Parikshitovacha tato nipavaram drashtum tadadeshe
Hare Krishna.
narado
Hare
vracham
Krishna.
deva
Hare
deva
Krishna.
pujo.
Mataji,
They,
Hari, Haribol, Anandita Jano Mataji.
Mataji, we have read this.
No, no.
Yes, I think Prabhuji wanted to say something.
Yeah, I want to say something. Okay, so with this verse, we will, I mean, we have noticed, or your question initially was, who's that Brahmana? You'll never know who the Brahmana is, actually. That was the answer. If I had said that in the beginning, the fun would be lost. So you'll never know who the Brahmana is. Sanatan Goswami never mentions it anywhere. And neither have any of the other acharyas or scholars, I mean, who have it is just unknown Brahmana. Similarly, the king, we at least have some indication earlier we saw. It's Sarvabhauma, but it's not very clear who it is. That's all. So that is the now we wonder whether this is real or not, but it is real because it's Sanatan Goswami writing. Why he didn't mention the name of the Brahmana, I don't know. Maybe that's his style. That's a style of I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, I mean, see, sometimes there are some things which, like for example, there are different ways of narrating things. Like suppose you tell all the conclusion in the beginning. When people read the narration, then it won't be as interesting as if you don't know. So I think Sanatan Goswami does a wonderful job there by telling, by keeping the Brahmana's name, what do you call it, unknown, and it will remain perpetually unknown also, unless some great acharya comes and says who it is. But otherwise we don't have any information about the Brahmana. Similarly, about the king, we have very little information. At least we know that the name is Sarvabhauma. That's all.
At least Sanatan Goswami should have revealed at the end.
Why? He doesn't do it. Neither has Sanatan Goswami revealed it, neither has anybody else said. Acharyas, any acharya following him said it. We don't know in the future some acharya may come and say who it is, but right now we have no information about it.
Oh. I was thinking that he is Gop Kumar because Brihad Bhagavatamrita is generally said in reference with Gop Kumar and Narad Muni or his guru. I don't know. I haven't
No,
heard
no, no,
much.
it's not Gopakumar. It's not Gopakumar. Sure.
And Prabhuji, there is one of our god brothers in South India that I don't know. I have read or seen the picture somewhere that the whole he is a jeweler, I think, and they are some brothers and all their staff chant some rounds or their. I think Guru Maharaj also mentioned that he held
Yeah,
some Zoom meetings and over 600 devotees joined.
correct.
So who are these? It seems very like I was relating with the, with our God brothers when it was being said here.
He is in Vrindavan right now. I met him yesterday.
Ah,
He's with a group of his employees from the 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 what jewelry company. He's also a jewelry company. It's worth, I don't know, thousands of crores. It's a listed
but
company actually. And yeah, I mean, he actually ensures that all of his employees, I think he has about what was it? I mean, a few thousands. I don't know exactly how much it is. I mean, it is there, but I can't recollect offhand. But everybody chants one round in his company. So and then he takes them on tours like this also. Like yesterday, when I asked him how many devotees have we brought, he said about 91. You know, so like that, he also takes them on tours and things like that. So yes, so there is a that is not a that is a businessman. Here we are talking about a ruler,
he
Kshatriya.
is a devotee, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah, he's a god
businessman
brother.
is a devotee, and it's
He's a
very
god
hard
brother.
to find such, devotees must be there. The rich, in the material terms, many devotees are so rich and they are serving nicely. But uh, how is it necessary that all the staffs would be chanting even one round, and there are even 16 rounders and more, more than one rounders also, as Guru has mentioned. So it was very amazing to hear and read about them.
Well, if it is your employer asking you to chant, it's very difficult to say no, no. like
Yeah.
like Guru Maharaj tells the story, right, of this thing, what do you call it, um, Saranga Murari, you know. So what do you call it? He is Saranga Thakur was what do you call it? a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Lord Chaitanya told him that you should accept at least one disciple. He didn't want to accept any disciple. So 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 when the dead body was floating, somebody got bitten by a snake was floating, and he just chanted the mantra into his ear. He came back to life. So his name was the disciple of Saranga Thakur was Saranga Murari. So Saranga Murari, what he would do, how he would go to preach, he would ride on a tiger and go to the villages, and, and he would preach sitting on a tiger. So Guru Maharaj is saying that when someone is sitting on a tiger and asking you to chant, it is very likely you will chant. So anyway, it's a good use of I mean a good use of material, or good use of intelligence or whatever. But similarly, if someone is an employer and asks you, please chant one round, it's hard for you to say no. I'm not saying that's bad. All that I'm saying is, by hook or crook, make people chant. That's all. How many employers do that anyway?
Yeah. Few years back in Gurgaon also, the DYPH program held, and there was one devotee couple who used to come. I think they are still devotees. They must be. They have newly joined. So I've seen the initial videos that they were making the whole staff. He was also having a company, so he was making them all chant sometimes, not one round. He has started with that. I don't know how is it going now, but have heard that also.
Ali, the
Yeah.
pioneers of this was the Bhaktivedanta Hospital in Mira Road, Mumbai. So they have what do you call it? They really perfected that art of dealing with people, with their patients and their patient parties. Like in 2009, 2008, when Guru Maharaj had the stroke. After that, he went there for some rehabilitation. At that time, one proper disciple visited him, and sannyasi. And so Guru Maharaj is explaining to the sannyasi how this temple, this spiritual care department of Bhaktivedanta Hospital, they make annually, during that time, that was 2008, I don't know how much it is today, but during those days itself, they would make around 40 devotees a year, 40 devotees a year. And they would end up by the end, I mean, one year, when I say devotees, it means for people seriously taken up to Krishna, not just experimenting. So I remember the sannyasi remarked at that point in time, if we can make 40 devotees every year, then he joked actually. He said that I don't mind converting all our temples into ashrams, sorry, into hospitals. Anyway, the point is that somehow when people come to us, we should have the opportunity, we should use our intelligence to make them into devotees. So I mean, these people are all setting the examples. Bhaktivinoda Hospital is the original this thing, and now there are others, as you're saying, like the jewelry group and others who are doing the same thing. I think the original inspiration is Saranga Murari. That would be quite a sight to watch, actually, sitting on a tiger and asking people to chant Hare Krishna. Okay. Any thoughts, comments, reflections? Okay, you can continue, March.
Screen. Sushmita Mataji.
Suchi Smita Mataji, the screen share has vanished.
Krishna, 1 second. Yeah, I'm getting it. I don't know. Yeah, it's that. Actually, I was searching for a verse I wanted an explanation for.
Okay, you want an explanation of something, Mataji? Okay, you can search for it, no problem.
No problem, Prabhuji. We can read the
No,
later on
if I
as
can recollect, I mean, vaguely, that I can.
yeah, it was way in the beginning, when we were talking about Narad, he was, that's initially when we discussed. So there was one verse which I was not understanding very well. But we can continue. I'll search for that at the end of the class.
Yeah, I know it's okay. I mean, since we're going to do an, yeah, okay, just go ahead, no problem. Just go check. You can scroll
But
on the screen, right? In the beginning, no, it was.
yeah. It
Yeah.
was something like 34th verse or something. So I was getting there while you were talking and discussing. So,
In the beginning, few verses today. Is that okay?
where?
Aditi, is it from today's class or early previous classes?
Today's class, Mataji,
Today's
today's
class.
class.
Can
It's
you
just
please say which in which what reference? Because I think I haven't read 30, 40 slokas. I
No,
no,
no, we
we
read, Mataji. We
we
read, we
read,
read.
we read,
We read.
we read. But it was about Narad Muni. He was discussing, and here again Narad Muni announced. I think this is the verse. And knows whom.
Radharani, I think that's the question. That's the what you try to understand, okay? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that okay.
Hmm.
Narada had been enjoying the festival incognito, but the ecstasies he was tasting in pure love impelled him to announce his realizations. All the Lord's devotees are dear to the Lord, as implied here by the word Janam, which can mean either people in general or some specific person. Narada knows whom the Lord most favors, and thus the word Janam also expresses a more confidential idea in Narada's mind, is ultimately referring to the dearest servant of Sri Krishna, Srimati Radharani. The Brahman and other devotees Narada will praise are also aware of their own lesser devotional standing. Narada here speaks mainly to the enlightened the public, but here speaks mainly to enlighten the public, but also to gain the impetus for his expedition to the far ends of the universe in search of Sri Krishna's best devotees.
Yeah. The end part, Prabhuji. You just
Yeah,
explain that.
which one? What
It's
about?
just the part, yes. It is ultimately referring to the dearmost servant of Srimati Radharani. The Brahmanas and the other devotees of Narada will praise are also aware of their own lesser devotional standing. Narada here speaks mainly to enlighten the public and also to gain the impetus. So that this all this explanation he is giving it for us people.
No,
Is
no, the
that so?
assembly also, no?
Yeah.
The assembly also. I mean,
Okay.
that public could refer to the assembly also. I
The
mean, please
assembly.
don't scroll it. Don't scroll. Please go keep it there. Yeah. So there, he's in assembly there, right? He's
Hmm.
talking to them and to us both.
Yeah. Just wanted to understand that. There was maybe another reference to. I'm not getting that. I was asked about to stop there, but then I don't want to interrupt. Never mind. Let's go down. Let's scroll down to the 59th verse.
No, is it okay, Mafti? You understood
Yes. Yes.
what the
Yes. Yeah. The reference I've understood.
no, of course you could say that Narada knows that the Lord most favors Srimati Radharani. That's okay. But here he's also, I mean, on a search to find out the gradations of devotees in the throughout the universe.
All right. 59th. From here. Well, Parikshit. Acha.
Sri Parikshit Uvacha Tato Nipavanam Drashtum Tadadeshe Narado Vrajan Deva Pujot Savash Saktas Tatra Tatrakshata Prajaha Sri Parikshit said, Narad then went to the country of that best of the kings to see him. Whenever Narad went, he found the people absorbed in festive worship of the Lord. Harshena Vadayan Vinan Raja Bhanim Gato Adhikam Viproktad api sampashyan sangam yovacha tam nipam. Mataji. Narad arrived at the capital, vibrating his veena with delight. Seeing even greater splendor than the Brahmana had described, he approached the king and spoke. Shri Naraduvacha Tvam Shri Krishna Kripapatram Yasye Driga Rajya Vaibhavam Saloka Guna Dharmartha Jnana Bhakti Bhir Anvitam. Sri Narada said, you are the real recipient of Sri Krishna's mercy. After all, your kingdom is so opulent. It has the best citizens endowed with the most excellent character, religiousness, prosperity, knowledge, and devotion to God. A pure sign of a ruler's virtue is the good qualities of his subjects. The people of this kingdom were not merely decorated with a veneer of culture, and they were all actually civilized according to the Vedic standards. The good citizens did their prescribed duties responsibly. They contributed to the general welfare by working, each as he was able, to introduce Krishna conscious practices everywhere. Abandoning pride and other godless tendencies, they gave charity by feeding sannyasis and hungry people, used extra wealth for offerings and worship of the Supreme Lord, and studied the Vedic scriptures, from which they learned the value of liberation and devotional service. The people aspired to become pure devotees of the Lord. Thus, they realized all the goals of human life: religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, liberation, and pure Krishna consciousness. Sri Parikshit Uvacha Tattad Vistarya Kathayan Asrishyan Bhupatim Muhu Precious Sansa Gunhan Gayan Vinaya Vaishnavottamaha. Sri Parikshit said, Narad, the best of the Vaishnavas, singing along with his veena, thus expensively described the king, praising his greatness, and Narad embraced him again and again. Sarvabhaumo Manivaram Sampujya Prashrito Abhravet Nija Shlagha Bharajata Lajja Namita Mastakaha. The king, that ruler of a vast region, then worshipped the topmost sage and humbly replied. His head bowed down in embarrassment by the weight of hearing his own praise.
Adi, this is a symptom of a great soul that
Yeah.
they feel embarrassed hearing their own praise. So we can check ourselves whether we feel embarrassed when people praise us, or when we hear praise about ourselves. Do we feel embarrassed? So that is a sign of spiritual advancement, that one actually feels embarrassed to hear one's own praise.
Devarshe Alpayushan Yusham Swalpai Swaryam Alp Ashwaryam Alpa Pradam Haram Vatantram Bhayakrantam Tapatraya Niyantvitam Krishnanu Vakyashyapya Ayogyam Avicharatah Tadiya Karuna Patram Katham Mam Manhyate Bhavan. The king said, O sage among the demigods, I am a human being with a short lifespan. little opulence, and little to give others. I have no independence. I am constantly attacked by fear and ruled by the threefold miseries of material world. I would not even deserve Krishna's word that in the future he might show me his mercy. Why do you wrongly consider me an object of his compassion? The king thought Narad could have mistaken him to be a favored devotee of Krishna's only by failing to use his natural good discretion. Before becoming a pure devotee, one has to free oneself from illusion. But the king's opinion of himself was that he was still Maya's slave, subject to the tyranny of spiritual ritual duties. What to speak of having realized his relationship with Lord Krishna? He felt that he did not even deserve that the Lord promised, I will show you my favor someday. Or understanding Krishnanu Graha Vakyasya. In another sense, he did not deserve to have anyone say, this person is favored by Krishna. Yeah. देवा देवा एव दयापात्रं विष्णु भगवतः किल पूज्यमाना नरैर्नित्यं तेजोमया शरीरिणः. The demigods are the real objects of the Supreme Lord Vishnu's mercy. They have effulgent bodies and are always worshipable by men. निष्पापाः सात्विका दुःखरहिताः सुखिनः सदा स्वच्छन्दाचारगतयो भक्तेच्छावरदायकाः. They are sinless, fixed in goodness, free from distress, and always happy. They act and travel however they like. They give their blessings by granting what their devotees desire. Yesham hi bhogayam amritam mrityu roga jaradihrit swechayopanatam shutrud badha bhave api tushtidam. Their food is the nectar of immortality, which does away with such miseries as death, disease, and old age. Though not forced by hunger or thirst, the demigods enjoy great satisfaction in partaking of this nectar by their own sweet will. Vasanti Bhagavan Swage Mahabhagya Bhame Yo Nibhir Bharate Varshe Satpunye Nabhyate Kripeha. O godly Narad, on the strength of this their good fortune, they live in the realm of heaven, which humans on earth can attain only by perfect, pious work. The saintly king proposes that the demigods are the most favored devotees of Krishna. To demonstrate this, he contrasts them with ordinary human beings. Humans like himself acknowledge the superiority of the demigods and worship them in Vedic sacrifices. The demigods, less encumbered than humans by physical restraints, are free to travel as they like, even flying in the sky without vehicles. Some rich and powerful humans may be famous for charity, but the demigods have universal powers by which they can fulfill all the worshippers' desires. The soma nectar that the demigods drink frees them from death, disease, and old age. And as implied by the word adi, and so on, also from fatigue, perspiration, bodily odor, and other embarrassments. Since the demigods are never hungry or thirsty, one might question what benefit they derive from drinking their soma. The king answers that they enjoy soma very much. Their pleasure is more subtle than the annamaya gratification of ordinary eating and drinking. Compared with the mortals of earth, the inhabitants of heaven seem immortal and independent They must therefore be most dear to Lord Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. This
Yeah.
it says that it frees them from death. But what I mean, understanding what we've heard is that even in heaven there is death. There may not be old age and disease, but there may be death.
So you
Is
can
that
see that is
correct?
clarified in the last sentence.
Immortal. Inhabitants of heaven
No,
seem
no,
immortal.
no, you can see what it says there fully. Compared with the mortals of earth, the inhabitants of heaven seem immortal. Relative immortality it is.
Okay. Acha. So
Frees
not
them
that is
from death, unlike us, like that. That's what it means.
all right. Okay. Thank you.
Unlike, for example, we feel fatigue, perspiration, bodily odor. I mean, these things are not, what is
There,
it? Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I think Anandita Mataji, I think we can stop here for today. If there are any comments or questions.
70, so that we can have a, we will stop
Okay,
at a
fine.
good number.
All right, okay.
Mune vishistas tatrapi tesham indraha purandaraha निग्रहे अनुग्रहे पीशो वृष्टिभिलोकजीवनः. My dear sage, the most distinguished of these demigods is Purandar Indra. He has full power to reward and punish, and he also gives the world life by providing rain. Purandar is the name of the current king of heaven.
Indra is a position. Indra is a position. And
Indra.
the position of Indra has names. So Purandara is the name of the current Indra.
There is a name for Brahmaji also.
Even Vyasa is also, that's why Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa.
So for the current Brahmaji also there is a name.
I don't know if there is a name like that.
Like Suryadev has the Vivaswan name, Prabhupada mentions like that.
So many of these things are positions, so they have names. I know Vyasa has a name, Indra has a name. Like, we'll see. I mean, I'll have to check. I'll have to check whether Brahma also has some name.
Prabhuji, how will this conversation go on? So every devotee would be recommending some other
Yeah.
person as higher devotee. This will
Yeah,
go
yeah,
like
yeah.
this.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So then Gop Kumar will come into picture.
Gopkumar is a different story. He's a resident of. Anyway, you'll see. He's a resident of Govardhan. That's a different thread.
Okay, then okay. So then they will go up to Srimati Radharani. It's like
No, you must. You need to actually read the. I think you have not read the introduction. Introduction. These things were dealt with in detail. The
I missed
storyline.
a few classes. Yeah.
Storyline.
Classes. I
Yeah.
will
No,
read.
yeah. There, the whole thing is the whole narrative of the book is very clearly explained there.
Okay. Okay. This is very interesting. Yeah. Something, you have never read, so you always feel a little, not in the material terms, but if it is spiritual, then it's always a bliss to read new things. Like Puranjan Upakhyan is always very, very, suspensive. And when I used to read before Prabhupada's books, then it also seemed to like, okay, what will come next? What will come next? But Prabhupada mercifully mentions the whole story, the significance of everything in his purpose in the initial chapters only.
Any thoughts, questions, reflections from anyone on whatever we did so far today? Suchismita Mata, are you scrolling to find out what it was that you wanted to ask?
Yes, Prabhuji, I'll go through it again. I'll ask in the next class.
Okay. Okay, so thank you all for joining.
Jyoti Mataji has something to
Oh,
ask.
she has a question. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my
Yes.
humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna.
I was thinking this point that there is a difference, between like making someone to chant forcefully and making someone to chant by their own will, like inspiring someone to chant.
Okay.
Like if we make someone if we make someone to chant forcefully, so temporary they might become devotees, or uh, they might be start to chant regularly, but inside they'll be having some inner fear, anxiety. Because of that, they will be chanting, and they also may, like, it may like remain as a sort of bad memory in their brain, like, okay, this thing I was forced to do, so I'll not do it in future. So I was thinking on this, just I was wondering on this.
No, we are not talking about children here. Prabhupada said that don't make the children chant Hare Krishna on beats. If they want to, they can do it. We are not talking about children here. We are talking about adults. And I mean, different people, different organizations have different routines. So I don't see this as, I mean, I don't know how to put it. It's just part of the organizational routine. That's all. He has just incorporated it as part of the organizational routine. Most people don't bother about it because if the rewards are high, who cares? You know, they would do it. So even unknowingly, I don't think it is like anyway, I don't know the details of it, but in general, uh, what it appears to me, it is just a routine. Like people do certain things when they join office at the beginning of the day. So this is like a routine. That's all. Now whether they like it or don't like it doesn't matter to them, right? Because what matters to them is the paycheck that they carry home. I mean, if you're talking in terms of force, they don't, they won't necessarily consider it as a as a bad routine if they're getting their paychecks properly, right? And meanwhile, if they do something, I don't think anybody there's the gunpoint to make them chant. So it's like it is not like some traumatic experience for them. I'm pretty sure about it because yeah, yes, I agree with you that in principle, yes. But wherever circumstances are favorable or possible, fine. I can have a company. Anyone who wants to join my company needs to do this. Someone likes, they can join. Someone doesn't like, they don't have to join. Because I'm a private employer. No, I'm not a government. I'm not a government institution where there are certain laws of the state and all that. Private person can do, say, to it's my private business. I'm doing it to earn money for myself, right? So you also want to earn money with me? Okay, this is my idea of how to earn money.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
You understood, right?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, definitely volunteering is better. But if it's just a company thing and whatever, if they do it, they anyway going to get benefit. Even unknowingly, we can't get benefit. Forget
Yes,
about
yes,
knowingly, you know.
yes, 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 Prabhuji.
Yes, Rukmini Harisani Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji, when we went at that Prabhu's place in South India tour
Yeah.
this year, so on safari, and it was like really good. That staff was like they were really very much happy. They welcomed us like anything, and they participated in kirtana. They did so much. So it was like they were getting salary. It means like that was their paid day, and they were doing Hare Krishna. So when
Yeah.
they come in the beginning only, and yes, you are right. We cannot say that on the gunpoint to I'll on gunpoint. Love me, otherwise I'll shoot you. This is
Yeah.
like my desire.
Yeah. No, my point is that the point that I was trying to make was that it is not people who have no, like I say children don't have a choice. That's why
Yeah.
Prabhupada said don't make them chant Hare Krishna on beats. He was very
Yeah.
insistent about it. And you can
Mm.
recommend or ask them, but you can't make it as a routine, you know. So, but whereas here it is a different story altogether. People are joining or consciously with and voluntarily, you know. So if there's a policy, they're aware of it. No, that's
Mm.
not that this thing. Yes, it may not be that every employee may be perfectly happy, but what can be
Mm.
done? That's part of life in this material world. But it's nothing is being done. I don't know how to put it. It's not illegal or you're not act. It's not a government institution. It's your private institution. I want to run it like this. Nobody is asking. There's no
Yeah.
pressure to join that company. No, you
Yes, yes,
understood, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, at what age, we can, of course, asking can be done, we can ask the child to chant on beats. Is there any certain age or Prabhupada
Nothing.
has
You
written?
can only recommend. You can only encourage. Not make it. You have to do it. No, that cannot be done. You can only encourage them.
Okay. At any age.
Until they become adults. Until they become adults. Yes.
Adults. Okay. Okay. Fine. Thank you so much,
You can
Ruchi.
always encourage them. It is nice. Why don't you try it? That's okay. But you
Yeah.
cannot. I mean, say you have to do it. No, that cannot be done.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Ruchi. Thank you so much.
Although a lot of devotees have not understood that point, they don't even not even aware of that actually.
Yes.
Prabhupada gave a very elaborate scheme of how to educate the children. But this is one of the prohibitions that he imposed. You cannot force them to chant. You know.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Although he said they should get up in the morning for Mangalarti, all these things, which I've not seen any kid complaining about having to wake up in the morning. They only complain about lack of sleep and lack of proper food, whatever I've seen historically. So Prabhupada has very nice scheme for that. He said make them sleep early, and then he said after Mangalarti, give them Mangalarti sweets. He had a very elaborate program actually.
Hmm.
Kids generally don't have a problem if they are able to sing and dance in the morning, no, when they get up. They're not doing some exercise or some routine. It's just,
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. 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 Thank you.
Also, Prabhuji, I was feeling
Yeah.
like regarding this only, even if somebody is compelled, like in the example that you quoted, eventually, when we are chanting the holy name, then the transcendental effect will come on the person.
Yeah.
I mean, that is involuntary. I mean, that is not involuntary. It is the effect that will happen in any case.
Correct.
So they will over time start relishing chanting it also,
Correct.
I guess. So it may not continue to be a forced thing for a long run. It may become, and once they start relishing the effects of chanting, then even when they leave the job, they may continue with the chanting.
Yeah. Anyway, but the point is, it is never forced, right? Like if I have a policy, you're aware of the policy, no? While joining, I don't know how what they do it, but I'm just saying, I have every right if it's a private company. This is my policy in my company, right?
Yeah,
So unless I don't know under the company laws don't provide, I don't know how those things work. I'm just talking in principle. Like I mean, whatever business I run is a proprietorship business. I don't think there is any what's it restriction on a I mean, I on a proprietorship business. I don't know about company, but in any case, the principle I'm just talking about is that it's a private endeavor. It is not like some people are being after they join and 10 years down the line say now you have to do this, otherwise you cannot be part of this company. That's unfair.
yeah, right from the beginning then.
And I don't think it is by it is whether everybody have to do it or not. I don't know actually whether that's part of the company policy or not. But in general, I mean, what is it? They encourage people to chant. Like Bhaktivinoda Hospital, when all the staff come to work, they stand in front of Prabhupada in a circle and they recite the Sikshashtakam, and then they go start their work. Okay, so thank you all very much for joining. We'll resume again next Thursday. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। गौर